Hello friends, I'm Mr. J. I am a relationship coach, and I'm so honored to be giving my first TEDdy Talk. What is a relationship coach, you ask? Well, simply put, I help people help themselves. Were you ever around someone who was going through a tough time or feeling down, and you offered them encouragement or guidance or a help? If yes, congratulations. You have what it takes to be a relationship coach. Hoorah! By the way, I spent almost 10 years serving both in the Army and the Air Force. And when you acknowledge someone in the Army or the Air Force in the military, you say hoorah. So that's why the hoorah. Anyone watching have friends or family in the military? I see a few of you. As they say, you can take the person out of the military, but you can't take the military out of the person. One of the things I do as a relationship coach is travel around and give talks. Today, I traveled all the way to my favorite room in the house to give you a special talk. I'd like to share a little bit about me and my life's journey, and hopefully by doing so, it'll help you help yourself with some thoughts or decisions and life direction. May I have a few minutes of your time in hopes to save you from maybe some of the struggles that I had in my life? Awesome. I appreciate your time. I'm going to start by letting you know that there's something you can do pretty much anywhere at any time that will almost instantly lift your mood. It's something you already do, but you probably don't even know the benefits of it. Now I got you thinking, huh? Singing. That's it. Really simple. If you're ever feeling grumpy or in a bad mood, singing is scientifically proven to improve your mood. Studies show that when you're feeling down or unhappy or even lonely, singing is one of the things that you can do to give yourself an instant pick-me-up. Have you ever been in the car or the shower or wherever, even in your head, and your jam comes on, and you just start singing away? Within moments, you're standing taller, more confident, knowing you own that song. So like I said, singing is a great quick pick-me-up, especially if you're feeling a little down or unhappy or even lonely. And speaking of unhappiness, did you know that being unhappy among students around your age has risen about 65% just in the past 10 years? One of the root causes of unhappiness is prolonged loneliness or feeling lonely for a long period of time. It makes you wonder, how is it possible that pretty much everyone has a cell phone nowadays or access to one, where we can get a hold of pretty much anyone at any time, but we feel lonelier than ever before? Are you ready for this? Believe it or not, it's social media. How many of you watching have Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, any of those accounts? I see a few of you nodding and raising your hand. Social media is wonderful, friends. It really is. We keep up with the latest fashions and trends, the latest news, our family, our favorite singers, and so on. But social media doesn't offer one key crucial component that we all need to thrive, and that's human interaction and human connection. Studies show that on average, teens and tweens, give or take, spend a whopping 9 hours every day on social media. Now think about that, friends. That's 9 hours of your precious and limited time completely disengaging from yourself, because we all need to get in touch with ourselves and our thoughts and our feelings and emotions and the nature around us, but also from those around us. I once heard that social media brings those far from you close, but those close to you far. Be honest, how many of you have been on your phones or your computers staring at social media while your friends or family are right around you? Hoorah! I've done it. I recently saw a picture of this elderly grandfather, and he took his teenage grandson and granddaughter out to lunch. In the picture, you see the old grandfather eating his fries at the table, while both his grandchildren silently sat across from him, scrolling Facebook. I thought to myself, they have no clue of the limited time they have together and the precious moments they're wasting. Have any of you ever lost anyone close and feel as if you didn't have enough time with them? Definitely, me too. So I'm not going to ask you to nod or raise your hand, but you can silently agree if you'd like. We've all felt lonely. Hurrah! Am I right or am I right? It makes sense because, as I mentioned before, research shows that this generation feels lonelier than any generation in the past. And one of those reasons is lack of interaction, lack of human touch and connection that we were all created for and needed, but social media just cannot give that to us. Now, I'm going to share something with you that we all do, especially when we're lonely, and usually we don't even realize we're doing it. We start to reflect on our life. Now, friends, reflecting on our life is not a bad thing. In fact, it's actually a good thing. However, when we start to reflect on our life while lonely and scrolling through social media, we start to compare our lives with the lives of others and what we see on the screen. Am I right or am I right? When we start comparing ourselves to others, it actually makes us feel lonelier, which ultimately starts to take jabs at our self-worth. And these messages, they start to come into our mind like you need to lose weight, you need to wear different clothes, you need to do this, you need to do that. They play and play and play in our mind until we actually start to believe them without even realizing it. Now, I have another question. For those of you who upload photos or pictures, is it the first selfie that you take that you share or upload? Or do you continuously take those pictures until you see the one you're happy with? Of course, and everyone else is doing the same. Rarely do we ever see anything rare and raw on social media. You know, when I went to buy the house I'm living in now, I went online to see what was available. I scrolled through many homes on sale and saw all the wonderful pictures on the inside and the outside. But when I went to visit these homes, it was almost as if I was looking at a completely different house than the one online. You see, realtors, the people that sell us houses, they pick the best rooms in the house with the best lighting. They go to the very corner of that room and take a picture of the room so the house looks huge in the picture. They make sure the pictures on the wall are perfectly placed, the paint in the room is a lively color, the floor is newly carpeted, anything and everything is perfectly and strategically arranged. And friends, we do the same. Hoorah! Very few people on social media take a picture of themselves when they just get out of bed and upload it. Lord knows you wouldn't want to see a picture of me first thing in the morning. Just getting out of bed all hair out of whack, crusty eyes and all. Lord no! That's a scary thought right there. Just like you, I'm going to have on what I think looks kick-butt awesome in. I'm going to make sure my hair has the best products in it and is having a good day. Anyone watching this ever have bad hair days? Or just me? Sorry, my microphone, I want you guys to be able to hear me. No, I'm going to make sure that I look the best. I'm going to make sure that my facial gestures and my head slant makes me look awesome. And if that takes me 100 poses with 100 different facial expressions, like I said, to get that perfect shot, so be it. But to the person seeing my picture online, they're just going to assume or think that that's the way I look naturally. They're not going to know the different hairstyles and the changes of clothes and the time I spent getting that perfect shot. So bottom line, just be aware that just like the models on a cover of a magazine, very few people look in person, or much of anything else on social media, look the way it does on social media. So do yourself a favor and don't compare your friends, someone's house, their dinner, their vacation, their life, and so on to your life anytime, but especially when you're feeling down or lonely. Now, I'm going to end this point with a quote that President Roosevelt once said on comparison. President Roosevelt once said, "Comparison is the thief of joy." Friends, we are bombarded all around us every day with messages and images of where we fall short in life and personally. Magazines, television shows, the big billboards on the highway, commercials, social media. They're constantly telling us, very creatively, I might add, that we need this or that to be happy or happier. Don't fall for the nonsense, friends. It will only bring feelings of loneliness, and it'll take jabs at your self-worth. Now, you've heard me say self-worth a couple times, and just so we're on the same page, my definition of self-worth is how comfortable and confident you are being yourself. Speaking of self-worth, when I was probably about your age, I remember sitting in class, and out of nowhere, two adults pulled me out of class, walked me down this hall into a big, cold, empty room. I had no idea who they were, what they were doing, but eventually I learned that I was being tested. After about 45 minutes, they brought me back to class, and I overheard one of them telling my teacher that this would be the last time I'd be in her classroom because I needed special ed services. See, back in school, I had a minor speech impediment. Once in a while, I would lisp while reading or talking. A lisp is when your S's sound more like a TH. So for example, instead of saying this, I'd say thith. Childhood lisps are something 90% of all children grow out of naturally on their own. But anyways, it was decided that I had to be placed in special ed because of my lisp. Now friends, let me just say that special ed 40 years ago did not have the sensitive and inclusive approach it does today. When I went into special ed, I had to separate from all of my classmates and walk down this long, dark hallway past the office and the janitor's room like I had some disease and had to be separated from everybody else, into a large room with just one teacher on the complete opposite end of the school, with every single student in that school that didn't perfectly fit in. It didn't take long before many in my class and in my school were ignoring me, making it a point to walk on the opposite side of the hall from me, and eventually making fun of me and teasing me. Watching this, you're either already a tween or a teen, so I don't have to tell you the pressures that you're currently going through. And maybe some of you do have similar living conditions that I did. I never once started and ended a school year in the same class because we moved almost 30 times before even reaching middle school. And it bothered me that everyone I knew lived with both their parents because I only had one. We had no money. We could barely pay our monthly bills. And I lived with the secrecy and shame of abuse. All this with a face covered in zits, an addict as a parent, no friends, and no decent school clothes. I remember this like it were yesterday. I had one pair of black pants that I wore for basically the entire year. They were hand-me-downs from an older cousin. And one day, while eating lunch at school, I accidentally dropped some mustard on my pants. I didn't notice I dropped the mustard until after the stain set in afterwards, so when I attempted to wipe it off, it still showed. So when I got home, I took a black crayon and I actually covered over the mustard stain. A few days later, the crayon would fall off and wear off, and then I just cover it again. Well, one day when I was walking to my special ed classroom, a group of young kids were walking behind me, and I looked down and I noticed the crayon flakes starting to fall off and leave a trail behind me. I broke down in fear. I could hardly breathe. I was sweating so much. I just knew any second the kids behind me would find out I used a crayon on my pants. They would realize I was poor and start taunting and teasing me. Just think for a second where my self-worth was. You know, friends, when you don't have self-worth, you make a lot of poor decisions. I skipped a lot of school, started hanging with the wrong crowd, and started experimenting with drugs. When I did attend school, I was always late, I always got into fights. I felt so sad and lonely and weak on the inside that I disliked anyone who came across as happy. So I became a bully. Any of you watching come across any bullies in your life? I thought that if I fight and call names and make fun of people, It would empower me and give me a self-esteem boost. Happy people, friends, with a sense of self-worth, they don't become bullies. Remember that. Any opportunity I had, I would name call and tease, even if they were my friends. Any chance I could, I would fight. My thought was, I will hurt people before people had the chance to hurt me. On the outside, I was a bulldozer, running over everyone around me. But on the inside, I was just a lost, scared little puppy who desperately needed guidance and to feel that someone loved me. I was labeled a behavior problem student and sent to a specialized school for problem kids. And during this time, I managed to find and make an appointment with a psychologist. After some testing, I was told that I had attention deficit, obsessive compulsions, and what's called CPTSD, caused from childhood trauma. For those that may not know, CPTSD is short for complex or childhood post-traumatic stress disorder. It's something that often soldiers who fight in wars come home with. A child can get CPTSD when they live in pretty unhealthy or difficult environments. Basically, PTSD rewires your brain. It causes many negative reactions. For example, any sudden loud noise or certain smells can really trigger me and raise my heartbeat and cause me almost to panic. It's not fun to live with at all. Anyways, my home life got so bad that at the age of 14, I moved out on my own. And to pay rent, I worked long hours bagging groceries at a store on the complete different opposite side of town. So every day I had to walk 4 hours to and from school, work, home, every day. Rain, sleet, or snow, summer, winter, fall. I didn't have the 50 cents, the extra 50 cents to take public transportation, which is what it cost back then. But I used to get so excited when I would help somebody put groceries in their car and they'd give me $1 for helping them. I would think all day of how I was going to spend that dollar. Maybe take the bus home, although usually I worked well after the time buses stopped running. Or would I buy some chicken ramen noodles? Those chicken ramen noodles were my favorite. Any other chicken flavored ramen noodle fans watching? I see ya. Anyway, I went to school all day, then I ran to my job, I worked until midnight. I had no time to study, no time to sleep, but I had to work and pay rent, so I quit school. Friends, can I just tell you, quitting school was one of the absolute worst decisions of my life. There will be times in high school or college where you may be tempted to quit. If you give in to that temptation, it will cause you lots of heartache in ways you cannot imagine for the rest of your life. Please trust me on that. I struggled unbelievably for years because I quit school. Eventually, I lost my job, and before I knew it, I was homeless. Living on the streets is not fun. It's scary, it's lonely, it's cold, it's dirty, and you are hungry but have no food. The little food I was able to get was robbed from me from scary people with weapons. As a homeless young man with no direction or self-worth, facing the scary world alone, I didn't have a clue how I was going to make it to the next day. I remember sitting under this bridge, however, and just wonder, will I ever be in a better place? Will I ever be truly loved? More importantly, I wanted to know if I'd ever be happy. I just wanted to be happy. Stop the pain. Stop the struggle of merely surviving. I certainly didn't know how or where to begin, but I did know I was sick and tired of being broke, broken, and brokenhearted. Anyone watching ever feel broke down by life? I got ya. I hear ya. I see you. Eventually, I got tired of the streets, tired of being broken, and brokenhearted, and I walked to our community college. It's a good 10-mile walk. Completely clueless on where to go, who to talk to, what to say, I entered the first building and I walked up to the first desk I saw and I begged to speak with someone, anyone. After waiting a long time, I remember I was sitting across from this lady. Her name was Mary McMahon. Beautiful middle-aged lady with dirty blonde hair and smile wrinkles on each side of her mouth. She asked me for my high school diploma, an address, proof of income. I told her, living on the streets, I didn't have any of those, and I'm sorry. Well, she said, she's sorry. I need these forms, or I need them from your parents, or can your parents write a statement? I told her, I haven't talked to my parents in years. Please, is there anything you can do to help me? She continually apologized and told me her hands were tied. There was really nothing she could do. I sat there watching her, putting her stamp of approval on all the applications in front of her. And I remember feeling so hopeless. I just wanted to cry. I was almost on the verge of tears from sadness when I finally got the courage to sit up in my chair and say, Mary, I promise, if you pull whatever strings you have to get me into college, I will prove to you in the first semester I am college material. And if not, I will walk away silently. Friends, now I'm going to tell you what I was never told. You matter. You are worthy. You alone matter. Your worth is not in your looks. Your worth is not in the clothes you wear. Your worth is not what you have, what you don't have, what you do or what you don't do. Friends, your worth is not in your grades. Did you know that there are almost 7 billion people on the face of this earth, but only one you? There has never been, nor will there ever be another you. This is it, your life. Your chance to be all that you can be, and trust me when I tell you, it goes by faster than you can imagine. Every single one of you watching this is a gift. The day you were born, the earth received a present. You, however, need to tear open that present, tear open that ribbon, and live passionately, authentically, embracing all the joy, pain, love, wonder, tears, disappointment, and awe, because it is your unique journey, and all of those unique experiences help you learn and grow, making you the person you are today and the person you will ultimately become. We've heard for years that wishes and dreams come true. I'm sorry to say, that's just not true. Dreams and wishes don't come true, but goals and plans do. What will keep you focused and on track are your goals in life. And the best way to predict your future is to create it. Don't get distracted from your goals with petty stuff and petty people. People have been talking about you before you were born, and they'll be talking about you long after you're gone. If someone calls you a name or puts you down, don't reduce yourself to their level and respond. That's giving that person too much power. Don't give away your power. Know your worth and stand firm in it. That's why it's called self-worth and not others' worth. Forgive yourself, friends, and forgive others. When you forgive, you give yourself the gift of being free. If you choose to hang on to unforgiveness, you are allowing someone to live in your head rent-free. Forgiveness is power. From the moment you get up in the morning until the time you put your head on the pillow at night, think positive thoughts. Positive thoughts lead to positive outcomes. Always find something to be appreciative of, and always have an attitude of gratitude, because your attitude in life will determine your altitude in life. And besides, your life could always be far worse. I love the quote, I once complained about my shoes until I met someone who had no feet. Don't allow yourself to ever be tempted to quit school or try your first drug. Drugs will keep you from your goals longer and quicker than you could ever imagine. Don't believe me? Just ask the millions that are currently addicted living on the streets after losing their jobs, their families, their hope, their health. They all had dreams and hopes too before using their first drug. And friends, if you take nothing from me today, please remember that good manners will open doors for you, that education and experience can't. Find friends that fit your future, not your past, and when you find those friends, tell those friends you appreciate them. To wrap this up, I just want to tell you the outcome of my meeting with Mary McMahon. Mary did in fact sense my desperation, my determination, and certainly appreciated my manners. And she did allow me a trial semester of college. I graduated with my associate degree with honors. I went on to receive my bachelor's degree with honors. And with a lot of hard work and discipline, a master's degree with honors. I served both in the Army and the Air Force honorably. I wrote, illustrated, published a children's book that sits on the shelves across the globe. I wrote and performed a dance album and traveled the world. I'm going on 20 years of marriage, adopted 2 beautiful kids, bought a beautiful house, and I'm living my dream. I went from being in special ed to teaching special ed, winning awards in special ed. I went from having a speaking problem to a thriving speaking career. I went from homeless to homeowner. Friends, goals and plans do come true. And if I do have a down day, because we're all human and we do, friends, I plant my feet on the ground, I put my head up high, and I remind myself of exactly who I am. And if I can reach my dreams with all of the setbacks and challenges that I had, there is no doubt that with a little bit of determination, hard work, and dedication on your end, you can accomplish your dreams as well. Friends, never forget you matter. Never forget you are worthy. You are a gift to this earth. Now, a gift kept helps one. A gift shared has the potential to have a ripple effect to reach one end of the earth to the other. I will leave you with this last question. Are you willing to share your gift with others? And if yes, what are you waiting for? Thank you for your time, friends.